You're watching the 2018 SEC Gymnastics Championship. I'm Bart Connor along with Kathy Johnson-Clark, and let's go down to the third member of our broadcast team, Laura Rutledge.
Bart, one of the most unique things about this meet is that it's on podium, which means all the apparatus are about 3.5 feet higher in the air than they would usually be. It's great practice for the NCAAs, which will also be on podium here. One of the things you have to keep in mind, the high bar on bars, 8.5 feet in the air already, then you add the 3 feet. That actually doesn't bother the gymnast visually that much because the podium's wider there. But where they have to make a visual adjustment is on beam, which is already 4 feet in the air, of course only 4 inches wide. Now it becomes about 7.5 feet in the air. On floor, the apparatus altogether is much bouncier. Floor feels like a stage, performing in front of their teammates and the rest of this arena. One interesting note too, guys, Auburn just recently, 2 weeks ago, competed on this exact equipment, this exact podium.
All right, thank you, Laura. Certainly the podium adds an element of drama to this competition. It feels like you're up on the big stage. Here are the rules in the SEC Championship. 4 apparatus going simultaneously. 6 gymnasts on each event for each team. Just the top 5 scores count, and the results will be determined by both teams. Now, we're going to be also bringing back the SEC All-Around channel. So you can catch all of the action on the All-Around channel on the ESPN app, or you can, in fact, go to the individual apparatus channels and follow your favorite team around the competition today. Here we go with the start. Jessica Yamson for Arkansas on ball.
Opens with a Yurchenko full, and how about that? Come up with a stuck landing for the first vault of the session. Now the vaults have a start value score. This one happens to be 9.95. So that's the maximum score, and they will not take a deduction for that landing.
And Sydney Sneed just mounted the beam for Georgia. She's the junior from Raleigh, North Carolina. Now the teams are seeded in these sessions based on their regular season standings. So Georgia, because they are the 7th of the 8 teams in the SEC this year, Georgia opens up on beam.
And Bart, a very confident, well-prepared team. Doesn't mind starting on balance beam. It's not usually the enviable position, but boy, if you can hit it, get it behind you, it puts a lot of pressure on all the rest of the teams.
She's known as a gamer for Georgia.
She looked superb in training, so confident. I saw her stick so many landings, really just a very aggressive mindset and a perfectionist in the gym. Really works hard.
That aggressive mindset usually serves well in a leadoff spot on the beam.
So far, this has been a terrific start, and there's that stuck landing. Good for her.
Georgia has had a talented team, but a challenging season because of lack of depth, and we'll talk more about that as today's competition goes on. Great start for the Gym Dogs.
I'll tell you who's going to have to be really sharp this competition, and that's the judges, to be able to be very, very consistent throughout 2 sessions.
Haley Garner now for Arkansas on ball.
Another Yurchenko full, a little bit of a pike down. The judges are going to look for amplitude, and that's the height and distance from the table, and then the position of the body. That should have been a laid-out position throughout the entire vault.
Jessica Yamson before her had a 9.775. Four events going simultaneously. It's one of the few meets of the year where all teams are going at the same time. A lot on the line in terms of bragging rights here at the SEC Championship. We know how much this means to these athletes, Kathy, because literally since January 5, we've been covering them all season long.
And you can feel that buzz in the arena. They are so excited for this conference championship. They have pointed toward this all season long.
This is the first meet of the year where we actually have 4 judges judging, so that means the high and low scores are thrown out. The 2 scores in the middle are averaged, and so typically we expect to see scoring a little more, let's say, tight here than we'd see in the regular season, where the scores sometimes get a little bit inflated.
And I think the delay, they're really trying to set a good mark to try to keep that standard and remain consistent.
Kendall Moss now for Auburn on bars. Drew Watson let them off with a 9.775.
Now what you want to see here on the uneven bars is smooth, effortless, rhythmic swing. And perfect handstands. She's been a little bit short on the first 2 past the handstands. Those will be minor deductions. There, that one was better, much more on top of the bar. Sets up a dismount. A double layout, very nice position in the air, but unfortunately lost the landing. Knees just buckled out. That's a big deduction.
Moments ago, Amanda Wellick for Arkansas on the vault after Haley Garner notched to 9.7.
A very nice Yurchenko full. Almost held that laid out position throughout, just a slight hike, but very good height. Excellent distance from the table.
Had an Achilles injury in 2017, so it's great to see her back in the all-around for the Razorbacks. Sydney Sneed's score for Georgia on the beam in their leadoff spot was a very impressive 9.875. Rachel Dixon is on the beam now in your lower left corner in the SEC all-around channel.
Very nice form on her acrobatic series, back handspring layout, step out. The judges look for these dance elements here to show full split in the air, complete amplitude. Handspring into a dismount, 1.5 twists, big hop on that landing. That will be the most significant of the deductions.
Sarah Schaefer on vault for Arkansas. The other all-around.
Beautiful Yurchenko half. You don't often see that vault in competition. She does it quite nicely.
Amanda Wellick before her had a 9.85.
This was a nice laid out position, good amplitude. This step at the end, however, that's a pretty big step.
Schaefer, currently the SEC Freshman of the Week, one of the 3 young ladies on the Arkansas Razorback team scheduled to do the all-around today.
And Arkansas, their top finish at the SECs came back in 2011, where they finished 4th. So a great opportunity for them.
Next up on bars for Auburn will be Taylor Krippner. He's the junior from Cypress, Texas. You see here a season average there, 9.8. Score in for Kendall Moss after her mistake, a 9.05 for Auburn on bars. Now, once again, quick reminder, 6 athletes compete. The best 5 scores count towards your team total. So you can drop a low score, but only one.
A little bit more pressure on this routine to really get them back on the rails. Very nice job getting to handstands. There's her release move. Need a little bit more counter swing, a little bit more turnover after that release move, but nice job. Almost got the landing. That hop will be a deduction.
Just a moment ago, Gray Speed for Arkansas on vault. Exceptional on this event, tied for 18th in the NCAA.
This is one of their highest ranked events. Very nice job on finding that landing. Just a little half hop.
5 feet 8 inches tall. She's extremely tall, but the SEC Specialist of the Week this week.
But
Emily Shield now, the freshman from Georgia on the beam.
Beautiful mount showing strength, flexibility, and balance. Emily has such nice form. Very good technique on beam. Look at that, straight legs, pointed toes, very soft landing.
Scores in for Rachel Dixon before her, 9.8. So Georgia off to an outstanding job here in the pressure-packed first rotation on the beam.
That was her dance series beat jump into a sheep jump. Lost the toe point just a little bit at the top of the sheep jump.
Shield, a 3-time member of the U.S. national team, competed in the Pan American Games back in 2015 in Toronto.
Pretty solid routine so far. Only some minor, tiny little micro deductions, just a little bit with the toe point at the top of leaps and jumps, but so far very solid, very steady. Good long pause there before the dismount. Aerial cartwheel. Ooh.
Oh!
Boy, she made that work, but she almost missed her foot between the aerial and the dismount. Good for her to pull that out.
She gets congratulations from Courtney Coupets Carter, the former Georgia gymnastic legend who is now in her first season as the head coach of the Gym Dogs. And she also gets congratulations from Suzanne Yacklin, the former coaching legend who's back as a volunteer coach. Gracie Day now for Auburn on the bars.
And Gracie is such a free spirit, even between the events, always dancing, and she loves to fly high. Check this release move out. Huge Jaeger. Love that she's keeping those toes tightly pointed throughout. That's what I meant by fighting for every 10th, and a nice Arabian double front. She tried to glue those toes to the mat.
Before her, by the way, Taylor Krippner had a 9.7. Look at the form.
Watch this. Beautiful height. Excellent distance from the bar, and maintain the toe point and form throughout.
Let's go down to Laura Rutledge.
Well, Bart, Georgia, we've seen them a lot on beam this first rotation. They were just coming off of a meet on the road against Utah, and their big emphasis this week leading into this meet was mental focus, fighting for every little detail from a mental standpoint. Sydney Sneed said, look, we've got it figured out from our gymnastics. We've got that really on point where we want it to be, but the details come from the mental capacity, and they've really emphasized that this week.
Laura, that is such a great point because I can see it in their face. I can see them being very deliberate on balance beam, really focused on those little things.
Marissa Oakley, the freshman on this young team for the Georgia Gym Dogs, who, as you mentioned, Kathy, their whole goal this year is to kind of reflect greatness. The program has had some instability in the last few years with coaching changes, and now they brought back the coaching legend Suzanne Yacklin and Kupetnes Carter, the head coach. So there's a lot of good things happening at Georgia. I think they really feel like maybe they finally deserve a break because they've had a very thin team all season. Sometimes they could only put up 5 athletes on an event.
They've certainly built their resilience throughout this season and fighting through obstacles that many of them unexpected at the beginning of season. So hats off to this group of young ladies for being so tough.
So after Sneed led them off with a 9.875, Dixon had a 9.8 and Emily Shield a 9.7.
What a beautiful dance series there. Both the leap and that ring jump, just a gorgeous position in the air. Nice, hop on that landing. They really need to try to glue those feet to the landing, not give away those little tenths of a point.
Just a second ago, Sam Serio mounted bars for Auburn, the junior from North Carolina.
And I love this opening skill, a little unusual. She goes from the clear hip Higgins roll to that eagle grip into her release move. Nice to see something just out of the ordinary.
Gracie Day before her a 9.775. So Auburn is doing well here, but they haven't broke into the 9.8s on bars yet.
Nice patience in this room, really finishing the kip before the cast handstand. And a full pirouette into her double back this match.
Tonight at 9 Eastern, catch SEC softball as number 18 Kentucky takes on number 13 Auburn right here on the SEC Network and streaming live on the ESPN app. 4 events going simultaneously here in St. Louis at the Session 1 of the SEC Gymnastics Championship. Missouri on the floor in this rotation, Georgia on the beam, Auburn on the bars, and Arkansas on the vault. Vivi Bobolis now, the senior from Montreal, Quebec, former Canadian national team member, on beam for the Gym Dogs. Only one score today over 9.85, and that is Sydney Sneed's leadoff score for the Gym Dogs on beam.
They've been really solid, not perfect yet, but I like the confidence I'm seeing. I can definitely see the concentration. They may need to just relax just a little bit.
It's interesting about Vivi Bobolis. The coach has said that she's so focused on beam, sometimes she looks a little angry while she's performing.
Vivi tends to get nervous on beam. I can usually see it creep up just a little bit. Did a nice job of fighting to keep those two elements connected. The judges watch for just a fluid, continuous arm motion between those in order to get credit for the series. Very nice series. 2 leaps into a standing back tuck.
Marissa Oakley's score in 9.775. So 4 very solid scores for Georgia on beam.
Needs to relax her face just a little bit. I can see the tension there, but she is fighting it throughout. This is a front toss. Very well done. Confidence is building right here. She gets ready for the dismount. Front with a full and an excellent landing. Good for her. That is very exciting for this young lady.
Moments ago, Abby Millay on bars for Auburn. She's coming after Sam Serio, notched their high score, a 9.85.
And this is a beautiful bar routine. So effortless. Huge air on these release moves. Right here. Big height on that ray. And then she does another one down to the low bar. High pack salto. Perfectly performed. Needs to not get ahead of herself here. Try to hit that shape in the air to find this landing. The full pirouette up. A little bit of a rush into that final dismount. Step on the landing.
The redshirt junior from Denton, Texas really flies high on her release moves.
Boy, but such quality here on the release move. 2 feet above the bar. Love the distance away from the bar.
The former elite gymnast for 6 years missed almost all of last season because of an ACL injury. Aspen Tuckett now finishing her floor routine for Missouri on floor.
Missouri scores are all in that 9.7 to 9.775 range.
We'll go back to beam now for Georgia, Sabina Vega. Vivi Bobolis, her score's a 9.875.
Bart, watch this mount. I just love it. It's not super difficult, but it is so eye-grabbing. Spectacular split jump right up to the beam.
She had a hurt foot when we saw her last week against Utah, and so they weren't quite sure if she had the training to be able to go full strength, but she looks good here so far. The sophomore from Carmel, New York.
Beautiful. She has such a nice finished quality about her balance beam work. Really shows gorgeous poses, the hand positions, the posture. Aerial right to that beat jump. Nice connection there.
Georgia has 5 very strong scores on beam. They have done exceptionally well under the pressure to lead off on beam in the first rotation here.
Absolutely. Oh, no. Just a little bit off on that lead. Good. She does 3 in a row, so she'll get the second 2 as her connection there. Once you have that balance break in between, you won't get credit for the series. So most of these gymnasts have backups in their routine to make sure they get that start value. Very nice dismount, nice finish. Just that one problem after the one leap.
And the final performer for Missouri on floor is senior Kennedy Harris. Interesting story about this young lady. She walked on at Missouri and then earned her way into scholarship aid. Has done a fantastic job. In fact, just this week was honored with the Arthur Ashe Award for gymnasts in the United States.
Opens with a pike double back. Now throughout these 2 sessions of competition, we'll see some of the gymnasts perform the more difficult skills, the passes that we call E passes. Be the double backs in laid out position, multiple twists. We'll see a triple twist in the second session.
High score for Missouri on floor so far is Aspen Tucker's 9.85.
There's her combination pass, a little bit low on both of those elements. Didn't quite get the timing of a punch on the floor. Judges are looking at these landings very closely, and they are sitting right in the corner, so they have a perfect view of whether those feet move on the landing. They have to show control on 2 feet before dancing out of it or stepping into the pose. Not bad.
We mentioned at the top of the show just how closely rated these teams are. You can see their team scores. They're extremely close here at the SEC Championship here after rotation 1. Missouri did a really nice job on floor. Only 1 score above a 9-8, but otherwise 4 scores in the 9-7 range.
It's a good chance to see what the judges are looking for. They really want that chest up high on the landing and complete control on the 2 feet.
Sabrina Vega's score is in a 9.7. It's interesting, Kathy, because we thought the scores got quite inflated during the regular season with just 2 judges during the dual meet season. It's interesting here with 4 judges. We're actually seeing a little more discernment in the judging, aren't we?
Yeah, and in the beginning they do have to start very conservative because you have to have enough space in there to separate the exceptional routines from the really good ones.
All right, let's go down to Laura Rutledge. She's with Shannon Welker of Missouri.
All right, thanks, Bart. Coach, you were just commending your team on the control they showed on the floor. What was your overall take for the way you started out rotating?
I was pleased. I thought they did a nice job, especially that first event. I think floor, anytime you're out in the first event, you just want to go out and have a nice solid start. And I thought they did a good job of that, put on some good presentation, and even if we're off a little bit, they finished strong. It didn't let that affect the rest of their team. So I thought we had a great start.
How do you take that great start into vault? What will be key there?
Yeah, we just talked about just controlling the process and not getting too caught up in the scores. The scores are the scores. All we can do is control what we're doing. So, I think that's what we're just focused on for the rest of the day.
All right, thanks so much, Coach.
All right, thank you.
Good start for the Missouri Tigers. Georgia has the lead after the first of 4 rotations, and it was Vivi Bobolis in this 9.875 that provided a highlight.